Hey everyone. Why do you still care so much about what others think? Why do you still measure your worth by the opinions and glances of others? From an early age, we're taught to seek approval, whether from family, friends, or society. But does this endless chase for acceptance really lead to happiness? The Stoics knew that external validation is a dangerous illusion. The world is unpredictable, and if your peace depends on what others say or don't say, you'll never truly be free. Those who live to please others never really live at all. The truth is, no one is thinking about you as much as you imagine. Everyone is wrapped up in their own struggles, insecurities, and worries. Yet we waste time and energy trying to prove something to people who barely notice us. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what truly matters: ourselves, our actions, and our personal growth. When you realize that your opinion of yourself matters more than any applause or criticism, you take the first step toward a freedom that few ever reach. The need for approval is an invisible prison, and it's time for you to break free. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean being selfish. It means valuing your own journey, stopping the need for permission to be who you truly are, and understanding that you don't need likes, compliments, or recognition to keep moving forward. You are enough. What others think of you doesn't define your essence, and the moment you truly understand this, you become unshakable. Your life belongs to you. Your choices belong to you. Don't hand that power to anyone else. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you ready to focus on yourself? Comment below. I will focus on myself. You don't control what people think of you. The truth is, it's none of your business. Yet we spend so much of our lives worrying about it. We analyze glances, overthink words, and try to guess what's going on in other people's minds. We waste hours, days, even years shaping our actions to avoid criticism and gain approval. But in the end, what's the point? Someone else's mind is a place you will never have control over. What people think of you depends on a million factors outside your reach. Their experiences, beliefs, mood, what they've heard, their own insecurities and projections. Often it has nothing to do with who you really are. So why let something so unstable dictate your decisions? The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Epictetus once said, "If someone speaks ill of you, don't defend yourself. Simply reply, 'They don't know my other flaws. Otherwise, they'd have mentioned them too.'" That's the mindset of someone who knows that other people's opinions don't change reality. If someone judges you unfairly, it doesn't make you less worthy, less capable, or less valuable. It just means that person has a limited perspective, one that belongs to them, not you. And yet we still care. We want to be seen as smart, successful, admired. We want to be accepted. But accepted by who and for what? If you shape yourself to fit every expectation, you end up being nothing at all. If your identity shifts with every opinion, what's left of you at the end of the day? Seeking approval is a bottomless pit. Even if you earn it today, you'll have to chase it again tomorrow. You could spend your entire life trying to control how people see you, but in the end, it can all change in an instant. And here's the ironic part. People think about you far less than you imagine. That might sound harsh, but it's actually freeing. No one is analyzing your every move. No one is judging your mistakes as much as you think. Most people are too busy with their own insecurities, worries, and challenges. That small mistake you've been obsessing over, no one noticed. That criticism someone threw at you, it says more about them than about you. Think about it. Has someone ever misjudged you only to change their mind later? Maybe a coworker thought you were arrogant, but later realized you were just reserved. Maybe someone assumed you were shy, but later saw you only open up in deep conversations. This happens because opinions are temporary. Today they see you one way, tomorrow another. Do you really want to base your peace on something so unstable? The only thing you truly control is who you are and how you act. If you're at peace with that, nothing else matters. If you are disciplined, honest, strong, and true to yourself, it doesn't matter who notices or who doesn't. Stoicism teaches that the only judgment that truly matters is your own, the way you act when no one is watching, the person you are when you're not trying to impress anyone. If your self-worth depends on external validation, you're giving control of your life to anyone and everyone. A compliment lifts you up, a criticism destroys you. That's not a wise way to live, and social media has only made this worse. Now, it's all about appearances, likes, followers, comments, approval. But none of these things define your true worth. How many people have looked happy online while feeling lost inside? How many have received thousands of compliments but still felt empty? This happens because no external validation can replace a true sense of self. Focusing on yourself means breaking free from this cycle. It means understanding that your value doesn't come from how many people admire you, it comes from how much you admire yourself. It's about respecting your own choices, building discipline, and living with integrity. This doesn't mean ignoring others completely. Feedback can be useful, and the right people can help us grow. But the key difference is, who has the final say? If you're always changing to please others, you're being controlled by external forces. But if you make decisions based on what you truly believe, on what's right, and on what really matters, you are in control. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." If your mind is constantly trapped in what others think of you, your life will be an endless cycle of insecurity. But if your thoughts are focused on your growth, your peace, and your purpose, nothing can shake you. So let me ask you, what's more important? Other people's opinions or the peace that comes from living by your own values? If your answer is peace, then it's time to stop trying to control something that was never in your hands. Don't waste time predicting what others think of you. Use that time to become the best version of yourself. Other people's opinions do not define who you are. Have you ever stopped to think about how much other people's opinions influence your emotions? A compliment can inflate your ego. A criticism can ruin your day. But do these words really change anything about you? Can your essence truly be determined by how others see you? If today someone calls you brilliant and tomorrow someone else calls you mediocre, who is right? The Stoics teach us that the true nature of things does not change based on external perception. If someone looks at the sun and says it does not shine, does it stop illuminating? If someone points at the ocean and claims the water is dry, does the sea cease to exist? The same applies to you. What others say or don't say about your life does not alter your essence. The invisible trap of seeking approval. The need for validation leads us into an invisible trap. We start measuring our worth through the eyes of others, as if we were mere reflections of external expectations. But this is an unstable way to live. Today they applaud you. Tomorrow they condemn you. Today they call you admirable. Tomorrow they question your choices. Do you really want to spend your life oscillating with the tides of external opinions? Insecurity is born from this dependence on validation. If the good things people say about you make you feel good, then the bad things they say can tear you down. But what if none of that mattered? What if, regardless of praise or criticism, you remained firm in your beliefs? Wouldn't that be liberating? The reality is that everyone sees the world through their own lenses. Two people can look at you and see completely different things. One might admire you for your discipline. Another might judge you for being too rigid. The truth is, neither of these perceptions define who you really are. People don't truly know you. At the end of the day, most people don't really know you. They form opinions based on fragments of your life, on small glimpses of what they perceive, and they project their own beliefs, fears, and insecurities onto you. But if even they change their minds over time, Why should you care? The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." In other words, it's not criticism that hurts you, it's the meaning you attach to it. What truly weighs on you is not the judgment of others, but the space you allow that judgment to occupy in your mind. You are not defined by others' words. Imagine a diamond. If someone looks at it and says it's just an ordinary stone, does that reduce its value? If another person claims it's fake, does it stop being authentic? A diamond remains a diamond, no matter what people say, and you remain who you are, unless you allow yourself to be shaped by others' words. Seeking constant approval is a game that can never be won. You may try to please people today, but tomorrow their expectations will change. And so, you'll spend your life chasing an unattainable standard, always running after something you will never truly grasp. Isn't it strange how many people spend more time worrying about how they are perceived than about who they truly are? They wear masks to be accepted. They change their behavior to fit in. But at what cost? Those who live to please others lose themselves. Those who constantly adapt to fit into the world will one day look in the mirror and no longer recognize their own reflection. True strength lies in independence from external opinions. Stoicism reminds us that the greatest strength we can have is the ability to be independent of other people's opinions. This doesn't mean being indifferent to everything and everyone. It means being strong enough to not need external validation in order to move forward. If you know you're on the right path, if your actions are guided by solid principles and values, then why should you care about what others think? Those who judge you do so from their own limited view of reality. Many project their own fears, frustrations, and insecurities onto you. Those who criticize you for trying something new are often people who never had the courage to try themselves. Those who mock your ambitions are often the ones who gave up on their own. Don't take to heart the words of those who lack the strength to walk their own path. You might receive a compliment today and harsh criticism tomorrow, but none of that changes who you are. If someone says you are a failure, that doesn't make you one. If they say you will never succeed, that doesn't erase your potential. What truly matters is not what they say, but what you do day after day to become better. The power of focusing on yourself. If one day you feel shaken by external words, stop and ask yourself, does this truly define me? If the answer is no, then why give it so much importance? People come and go. Opinions change. But your essence remains. If your self-worth is rooted in what others say, your confidence will always be fragile. But if it is anchored in what you know about yourself, nothing can bring you down. And when you start focusing on yourself, something incredible happens. Other people's words lose their power. You no longer feel the need to prove anything. You stop seeking recognition. You simply live according to what you believe in without worrying about the audience. And this is where true peace lies. Not in applause, not in likes, not in acceptance from others, but in the deep tranquility of knowing that you are enough, just as you are. The need for approval makes you a slave. Have you ever felt like you were living more for others than for yourself? That every choice, every word, every action was calculated to please someone? The desire to be accepted can be so subtle that we often don't realize how much it controls our actions. But the truth is simple and harsh. Those who live seeking approval will never be truly free. Think about how many decisions in your life were influenced by the fear of what others would think, from the clothes you wear to the paths you chose to follow. How many dreams were abandoned because someone said they wouldn't work? How many words were swallowed out of fear of rejection? This need for acceptance creates invisible chains that imprison our minds. And the cruelest part, we often don't even realize we are chained. The Stoics knew that real freedom doesn't come from the absence of rules or obligations, but from the ability to not be controlled by the opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A free soul is not shaken by applause or boos." But can we truly live that way? Are we capable of staying on our course even when the crowd cheers or condemns us? At first glance, the search for acceptance may seem harmless. After all, we are social beings. We want to feel part of a group. We want to be respected and admired. But where is the line between healthy social interaction and dependence on others' opinions? When we start shaping our identity based on what others expect of us, we stop being the authors of our own story. The problem with needing approval is that it never ends. Today, you receive praise and feel good, but tomorrow, a look of disapproval makes you doubt yourself. So, you adjust your posture, filter your words, and recalculate your steps to regain lost acceptance. And little by little, you stop living for yourself and start existing for others. Nothing makes us more vulnerable than the dependence on external validation. If you need others' approval to feel good, you will always be a prisoner of expectations you cannot control. Because the truth is, no matter how much you try, you will never please everyone. There will always be critics, doubters, and people telling you that you should be different. If your happiness depends on being accepted, then you are placing your peace in the wrong hands. The slavery of approval doesn't happen overnight. It settles in gradually, subtly. You start by giving in to small things, laughing at a joke you didn't find funny, pretending to agree with something you don't believe in, avoiding expressing your opinions out of fear of backlash. But over time, these small gestures add up until you no longer know the difference between who you are and who you have become to meet others' expectations. When we become dependent on acceptance, we drift away from our essence. We begin to measure our worth by external recognition, and every criticism becomes a threat to our ego. But the reality is that other people's judgments are fleeting. People change their opinions all the time. What is considered right today may be questioned tomorrow. And if you're always adjusting yourself to fit what others want, you will never have peace. The solution? Turn inward. The Stoics teach us that the only opinion that truly matters is the one we have of ourselves. If you act according to your principles, if you are aligned with your values, then there is nothing to fear from external judgment. True freedom is born when you no longer need permission to be who you are. This doesn't mean we should completely ignore others. Social interaction is part of life, but there is a difference between respecting people and erasing yourself to be accepted. Respect is a two-way street. When you stay true to yourself, you inspire others to do the same. But if you live only to please, you will never gain real respect, only fragile acceptance that can vanish at any moment. The irony is that the less you seek approval, the more genuine respect you receive. People can sense authenticity. They can tell when someone doesn't desperately need to be accepted, and that earns admiration. But respect should never be your goal. Your focus should be on what is right, on what has value, on what strengthens your inner self. Throughout life, you will encounter many voices telling you who you should be. Some will come from friends, others from strangers, and even from people who love you. But at the end of the day, only you can decide which voice to listen to, yours or the world's. If you want to experience true freedom, start small. The next time you find yourself about to do something just for approval, stop and ask yourself, does this truly reflect who I am? If the answer is no, then maybe it's time to choose a different path. Life is too short to be lived in fear of judgment. You don't need the world's acceptance to be who you are. You don't need anyone's permission to live the life you want. True strength comes from within, not from outside validation. And the question remains, how much longer will you care more about what others think than about what you truly want? Maybe today is the day to break free from this need. Maybe today is the day to finally start living. If you've made it this far, it's because this message resonated with you. So, I want to know who really paid attention until the end. Comment down below. I stayed until the end. I want to see how many truly understood what it means to focus on yourself. And since this message was important to you, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a like to support this content and subscribe to the channel to keep receiving videos that will help you grow even more. And of course, share it with someone who needs to hear this today, because in the end, the world respects those who have the courage to be themselves. See you in the next video. Until then.